father, the original owner of the rifle that was found after. But first, we have exclusive audio of Tyler Robinson's grandfather, the original owner of the rifle that was found after Charlie Kirk was killed. Wouldn't it be kind of interesting to hear what Grandpa thinks? Do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty? It is his gun, or was his gun, before it was passed down to Tyler Robinson. So he knows that weapon better than anyone. Here's what his grandfather had to say briefly at the hearing.
He says, yeah, my dad was a cop for X amount of years, and he showed me all the ballistics. This is the grandfather saying, yeah, I'm here. It's my gun. We think he's been set up. He's there admitting, claiming, saying very openly, yeah, I think he was. She says, I absolutely believe your grandson was set up. And he says, oh, I do too. Well, I seen the ballistics. I'm doing it. Ain't no way.
We think your grandchild is absolutely framed, but
we think your grandson is absolutely framed. But I'm an investigative journalist.
I'm an investigative journalist. So
his entire family, starting with the owner of the gun, his grandfather, says, no way. We believe he was framed too.
Taught him ballistics, and he says that is not what a 30-06 would do. So we're looking at all the situation, everything that's happened coming into this now probable cause hearing, which is supposed to happen in May, and which they are now meeting at a hearing, as they did on Friday, to say, no, we are not ready to meet in May because we're not being given what we're asking for. You recall that after my sit down with Erica, I dutifully reported to you all that when I asked Erica what evidence she had that Tyler Robinson, that had convinced her that Tyler Robinson had committed this crime, since she had been publicly representing that she was so confident that he was the guy. But to my shock, she phoned her lawyer, as I told you, and he explained that actually they had nothing more than the public had. And he explained to me that they were in the period where the state was supposed to go out and find the evidence. So they don't have any evidence yet. We don't have any evidence more than the public has, but we're now in the period where the state is going to go find the evidence. They get to see the evidence and prepare arguments. The recent public hearing for the continuance, we learned from Tyler Robinson's team that they can't actually make any arguments on the defense because the FBI is refusing to hand over the evidence that they have been requesting for this supposed to be probable cause evidentiary hearing, okay, of Cash App, okay? Take a listen to Tyler Robinson's defense attorney, Richard Novak, explain that, yeah, they have the summary reports, but we don't have the data.
What is actually outstanding is, yes, but most importantly, the data, the electronic quantification, digitization of physical.
Watch the judge nodding like a buffoon.
Is, yes, but most importantly, the data, the electronic quantification, digitization of physical evidence taken from our client and certain objects that leads these forensic examiners to conclude that there are matches.
It's like if they take his phone, they confiscate his phone, they pull all the data from it, his texts, his messages, his app, his Discord, whatever else, Telegram, etc., Signal, whatever else they have. Okay, well, can we see the device? Can we see the data and the transcripts and triangulate where it is that you summarized all that info from?
Without those data files, we can't even start to analyze, to understand, to appreciate the conclusions, the statistical analyses, the results of those tests. So yeah, the bench notes and the protocols that were followed, yeah, that's all important, but we don't even have the data files. And there's no reason that I am aware of that has been provided why the ATF and the FBI, first of all, the ATF, why they provided it in the last 3 weeks and why the FBI still hasn't.
So when we first say, does this test show us that this franged projectile, round, whatever you want to call it, the bullet, the fragment, this frangible little projectile, does this match the gun? And they say, no, we cannot make it a match. Hey, ATF, here we have a different test we're going to run, and it's going to say that it's still conclusive with possibly a .30 caliber. Got it. The ATF doesn't, I think, want to completely burn their credibility on this case. The FBI doesn't have any credibility, so they don't mind burning whatever it is that this is being fueled by.
It should have all been produced, some of it 6 months ago, because we have DNA reports from September of 2025.
Part of the charging documents is that they say, we have DNA evidence on this rifle recovered, and that DNA evidence is Tyler Robinson. Should the defense not have had access to that information immediately right off the bat so that they can ask the question of where did the sample of DNA evidence from the rifle come from? Oh, it was on the handle, on the trigger. If not, you have other suspects you're not looking at. We have reasonable doubt in your reasonable suspicion. Right off the bat, they might have to consider that. So instead, they just don't look at it. They just say, no, we have a conclusive match of DNA from him to his gun. Okay, but you have 4 other possible matches to other people also. And could one of them have been Twigs? For the record, I don't think Rick Cutler touched the weapon at all. But the point is, someone at the FBI did. And their FBI DNA is all over that rifle. We can't be just testing all 5 profiles and making sure that we have 5 conclusive matches to then lead us to 5 suspects and then narrow down from them who actually might have placed that rifle there.
That they have not yet even been given access to Tyler Robinson's phone.
I also have not been able to get into my client's phone. The electronics that we have required an expert to, because they're so massive, we had to all get these huge hard drives shipped to us from our digital expert. But we've been given the names of some witnesses they may call. And what is on my client's phone, I think is going to be really important.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important too, because that's what everybody has been saying is the slam dunk proof.
The messages may not be credible. Turns out the messages might have been fake all along. Instead, the action says that when they say, we are not going to introduce those in our 35 little vignettes of how we know he is guilty, our 35 reasons why. And we're going to have Lance Twiggs tell you why Tyler Robinson messaged him and how he felt when he lifted up the keyboard.
Talk about these messages that he received, and the defense can't prepare any arguments because they have no forensic information.
No, it's because tactfully, the prosecution has said the defense can only argue whatever evidence we introduce. But at trial, we're not actually charging him based on these statements.
Regarding whether, I don't know, was Lance holding both phones at the same time and texting himself? Did it actually happen on Discord? They make up these text messages entirely? Did the feds make them up? Because I could make up screenshots right now and claim that these were real messages, but only an expert, a forensic expert that's given access to electronics could determine if they were real, where they were sent from, all of the data, the location, to make sure that everything is authentic. So what that means is that the State Bureau of Investigations, okay, that's the SBI, basically has their hands tied behind their back. They are essentially waiting, the defense is explaining that the SBI is waiting for the FBI, Kash Patel's agency, to send them over their many discovery requests from everything they gathered on that day. Kathy Nestor even claims that they haven't even seen the gun. This is the gun. Your client fired. Just trust Kash Patel.
I actually think that's really
Why the fuck would the gun have ever left the state? Why did the gun go to Quantico? Why would they take the gun out of Utah and send it to D.C., to Quantico, Virginia?
important for purposes of the hearing.
Why is the gun being kept at Quantico in Virginia? Why is the gun being kept with the feds for a state case? Go down information from Kash. Can anybody make sense of any of that? I mean, the important thing that I want to stress to you is how abnormal it is that the prosecution, Erica's team, because she's listed as the victim, is arguing against a continuance. I am, as you know, perpetually involved in lawsuits. Continuances are basically like common courtesies when you're this early on in a lawsuit, right? Suddenly an attorney can't make it because he's got some personal emergency. Oh, actually, I'm going to be on vacation that week. So-and-so just found out that his trial is going to be moved that week because, lawyers are doing various trials at the same time. I have never, in all of my personal experience, even when the lawyers hated each other, okay? Like my lawyers did not get along with Daily Wire lawyers, okay? One in particular, really not like him. Always just common courtesy.